Ready to be amazed? Because today we're going to play Story Time. So we're on John, Joe, Jake, and Jim. This is book 2. And you might notice we don't have titles here. So, yeah, there's a pretty obvious reason behind that. That's because this is just going to be not a specific number of books, but it's just going to go on like a TV series with like small plots in each one, and once in a while you'll have a plot that overlaps over multiple episodes. So, here's a refresher on where we're at. John, Joe, Jake, and Jim changed their names from Bob, and Bob to the 4 J's. John, Joe, Jake, and Jim. And they were stuck in the lava dimension. And they made a boat out of leaves that they found were lava resistant and sailed across the lava ocean to a city. Now, this city was inhabited by different inhabitants that they had never encountered before. It wasn't Bobs. It wasn't evil Bobs. It wasn't werewolves. And I know what you're thinking. It must be Petries, but it wasn't. It was Arrow-Weirs. Arrow-Weirs were something they had never encountered before. They were super fast and sort of like werewolves, but they were sort of nice, except for when they thought you were an invader. So naturally, when they came to the Arrow-Weirs city, the Arrow-Weirs thought they were an invader and chased them off. Luckily, John, Joe, Jake, and Jim got away from the Arrow-Weirs. Now, where would they go? They could go across the lava lake to the continent with the Great City of No. They could go around the continent and across the lava lake to get to another city that might hopefully have nicer inhabitants. Or they could build their own city on the other side of the continent. Now, since they knew Joe, and they knew how hard it was to make a city, they decided, let's make a city. Oops. So, well, John and Joe stayed and started to build the city. Jake and Jim ran off to the forest to go get some inhabitants. Now, this forest was really, really crazy. There was a lot of people, there was a lot of things in this forest, and they made a lot of noise and moved around a lot. But Jake and Jim, they found Petries. These Petries weren't warlike. And they also found werewolves. Now, these werewolves were nice. So they decided, the werewolves and Petries must have gotten so warlike because of a fight with each other. So, they decided to meet them up at a desired location in the forest to go to their new city. But after they found some new inhabitants. But the only other thing they could find in the forest were evil spirits that looked a lot like eviler than evil Bobs, trying to catch them. When these evil spirits caught up to them, they were like, how are we going to fight these guys? They need to be fought with magic lasers, and those can only be made with magic Bobs and plain Bobs, and we have neither. So they tried to run, but this was useless, because they ended up getting caught in a trap. Now, John and Joe were building a city, and Jake and Jim were captured. John and Joe had no idea they were captured, and even if they did, there was a whole forest of evil spirits. The other inhabitants couldn't help them either, because they thought Jake and Jim had just ditched them. How were they going to be saved? Or would they be saved? Find out next time on John, Joe, Jake, and Jim. Goodbye.